Hello everyone. So in this video I am making an attempt to explain how we can solve a given LPP by the graphical method. Okay, so we know that say an LPP could be solved in two different ways. One is by the graphical method if the given LPP what you have formulated as a mathematical formulation, or if you are able to have a ready LPP being given. If the given LPP has only two input variables or decision variables, I can always say solve this LPP or such LPPs by the graphical method very easily. If the number of variables are more than two, then you can solve them by what is known as the simplex method or the big M method, whatever the way in which the constants are expressed. So that we will see later. Now this is an attempt just to show how we are able to approach a graphical solution for the LPP. Okay, this is because some of the students have expressed that in the course of the online class, due to the poor network coverage, the network makes the voice to break now and then, so they are not able to hear properly. So with their request, I have made an attempt to indicate how we can solve a given LPP by the graphical method in this short video. I have already taken an LPP, okay, so that I don't read through. You can easily see what is the given LPP. It has an objective function to maximize z, a set of constraints. Okay, two constraints have sign less than equal to, other two greater than equal to, and we have even put the non-negativity requirement of the input variables x1, x2 greater than equal to 0. So they are the integers or not, it is not mentioned here. Okay, we don't have to worry about that one. Then as a first step towards the graphical solution for the LPP, I need to always convert each of these inequations to equations. So that is the first step. Unless I convert them into equations, I cannot represent these inequations as straight lines. So if a given linear expression is to be put as a line on the graph sheet, then it should be a linear equation. So for that, I have converted all these inequations into equations as you could see here. So for the graphical solution, convert all the inequations to equations. So I have put now 5x1 plus 4x2 equal to 200. I have marked it as line 1. Then alternately put x1, x2, 0. If it is a non-zero quantity, right? If the RHS is a non-zero one, then you can go by this method, putting alternate x1, x2, 0 and finding the value for the other variable. If it is a zero expression, if it is a zero RHS quantity, then I have to express that in the form of ratio expressions or slope equation that you have seen in the previous one or two problems has taken up, right? So it should be solved like a slope equation starting from the origin. Okay, now I have converted all these inequations to equations, and alternately I have put x1, x2, 0. As you could see here, when I put x2, 0 for the first equation, x1 becomes 40, x2, 50. Likewise, I have converted all these inequations to equations. Second equation is 3x1 plus 5x2 equal to 150. Then the again x1, x2, I am getting 50 and 30. Third one is 5x1 plus 4x2 equal to 100. That is equation 3. x1, x2 values are equal to 20, 25. Then finally, the fourth equation is 8x1 plus 4x2 equal to 80. If I put alternate x1, x2, 0, I get x1 10, x2 20. Okay. Okay, next, when you want to go for the next step, I have to check what will be the highest value for these variables. If you check these values now, x1, x2 values, first one 40, 50, 50, 30, 20, 25, 10, 20. So highest value for x2 is 50, x1 is also 50. Okay, that apart, when you look at this non-negativity requirement of the input variables, which indicates the variables are always non-negative. Okay, it is non-negative. Definitely we need to clearly know that the solution space lies only in the first quadrant. The lines could lie always in any of the quadrants because of the sign of the variables what you have, the corresponding coefficients. Sometimes the line could lie even in other quadrants, but the solution space has to always lie in the first quadrant as given by the expression. Okay, x1 comma x2 greater than equal to 0. So for that, I have now selected the first quadrant. You could see the lines are drawn. I have taken, say, along x-axis variable x1, along y-axis variable x2. Okay, then I select a suitable scale because the highest value happens to be x1 50, x2 is also equal to 50. So I select a scale 1 centimeter equal to around 10 units. It is fairly good scale for me to represent without any difficulty. So if the values are greater, select a higher scale. Okay. Now with that I have marked each of these centimeters. So I am using a plain sheet. Please do it on the graph sheet because you are expected to do such problems on the graph sheet. Graph sheet only the clarity may not be good, so that I am trying to use a white sheet. Okay. So this should be done only on the graph sheet. Is it clear? So I marked the corresponding, say, markings here. X1, say, along X1 each centimeter represents 10 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or 1, 3, 5, 7 like that you can mark. You don't have to indicate each of these divisions. Again along the y-axis or along x2. After that, I already have drawn a line. Okay. Next, the first constraint line I try to plot. For that I have got x1 40, x2 50. So x1 is 40, 1, 2, 3, 4, each is 10 centimeter. So this is 40. Along y-axis, if I go to the 5th centimeter division point, it will be 5 into. So this is 10 rather, not 2. This is 10 into 10 is 50. Okay. So I'll be able to connect these two by a straight line. That will be marking as line 1. Then based on the sign of inequality, the original inequation was less than equal to. In such case, once I drew this line, this particular entire first quadrant is divided into two regions. Out of that, which region is the solution space I should know. So for the constraint sign having less than equal to sign, the solution space always lies towards the origin, so that I am pointing the arrows downwards in such fashion so that the region that lies below this line will be the solution space. So towards the origin, the solution space lies for this particular constraint. Similarly, for the second constraint, we have 3x1 plus 5x2 equal to 150, x1 50, x2 30. So x1 is 50, x2 30 andre, this is 10, 20, 30. This is the point. Okay, so I'll be able to connect these two. Sorry. So that is line 2. Mark here, line 2. Okay. Then again the sign of inequality, if you observe, it is less than equal to. So the solution space has to lie even below the line 2 drawn. Okay. So that is the solution space you should be able to get. So the solution space lies below this. So the common region, if you are able to find for the two lines, will be from for the first line up till here, till you get the intersection. Then it goes like this. Okay. Then we have the third equation is 5x1 plus 4x2 equal to 100. So if I put x1, x2 0, x1 20, x2 25, I am getting. So x1 20, the second centimeter point, x1 is 20, x2 is 25. Between 2 and 3. So I'll be able to connect these two. Sorry, it goes out of the camera range. I need to keep track of that one. So we'll connect these two by a straight line. This is line 3. And what is the sign of inequality now? If we check, it is greater than or equal to. In such case, the solution space has to lie away from the origin, so above the line drawn. So the solution space will be lying above this. So this polygon will be the region what you're looking for the three lines as a common space. But I have got one more line. One more line is 8x1 plus 4x2 equal to 80. If I put x1, x2 0, x1 10, x2 20. So x1 10, x2 20. Okay. So it's not a problem at all. I can easily connect these two. That is line 4. I'm just drawing it a little bit longer just to show or name these lines. Okay, so this already named one, this is 2 already have named. Okay, now again the constraint sign is greater than or equal to for the fourth constraint. So the solution space has to lie away from the origin above this line. Okay. Now this particular line is not taking part in any solution polygon formation or the feasible region formation. It is not being say a part of that one. It's not a problem at all, because this region what I try to have for the region that lies below line 1, below line 2 and above line 3 also holds good for line 4 also. Okay, so no doubt, even though it doesn't take part in the formation of the solution polygon, sometimes we call this particular constraint as a redundant constraint. Okay, we call it as redundant, redundant, redundant constraint. Andre, this constraint is necessary, no doubt, but it doesn't take part in the formation of a solution polygon. So it doesn't affect the solution polygon already being formed with the other 3 lines. It's not a problem, because this particular solution space also satisfies this constraint also, because the solution space has to lie above this line. Andre, this region is lying above this line, so it also will be automatically satisfied. So since it is not taking part in the formation of the solution polygon or the feasible region, so it is usually called as redundant constraint. Okay, so that is the idea, but we don't have to worry. Now I try to say hatch the solution space that is taken as a common solution space for all the lines. So this is called as the feasible region, or common solution space, or also called as what? Solution polygon. It will be having some geometrical shape, so definitely it can be taken as solution polygon. Okay, now I need to clearly mark the corners. So I will mark the corner points of the polygon. This is A, this is B, this point will be C, this will be D, and this point will be E. So I got 5 corner points of the polygon. That will, so any point in this region, the hatched region will satisfy all the constraints simultaneously. But I want to look for the optimum value of Z that should be maximized. So out of these 5 corners, so solutions point which is optimum will always lie at any one of these corner points. Is clear? So for that I need to select now at each of these points A, B, C, D, E, what are the values for the variables x1, x2, substitute them in the object function equation to find out where exactly the value of Z is maximum. Okay, is it clear? Now we'll do that. So we'll take up now at corner A, x1 comma x2, if I locate, that will be x1 is now, this is 20, okay, and 20, x1 is 20, x2 is 0. I substitute in the maximum Z equation, so I'll get maximum ZA. So x1 is 20, x2 is 0, so it becomes 300 into 20 plus 0. So I'll get this as 6000. Okay, that is at A, ZA. Okay, then at corner B, x1 comma x2, if I check, this will be 40 comma 0. So maximum Z at B, if I check, this will be 300 into 40 plus 0. So now 100, this becomes double. So rupees 12,000 that is ZB value. Now at C, okay, at C, I need to solve the two expressions which represent the lines passing through that point, that is 1 as well as line 2. So I want to get those two, so it is very difficult to read. Graph allidre easy aagi madabodu. For that I need to solve these two expressions. So through point C, could observe through point C, line 1 as well as line 2 is passing. So if I take up those two equations, so line 1 is 5x1 plus 4x2, line 2 is 3x1 plus 5x2. So if you are able to solve this by the simultaneous equation method, okay, so how it could be done, we can just show it here itself. Okay, so how it can be done, I'll try to show it. This will be 5x1 plus 4x2 equal to 200. Then you have 3x1 plus 5x2 equal to 150. So in this method I need to eliminate one variable and find the value for the other one. So if I multiply this by 3, this equation by 5, and the quotient of 3, I will multiply the first equation. Quotient of x1 is 5, I will multiply the second one, so that I will be able to get a common coefficient for x1. So if I try to take that one, this will be now 15x1 plus 4, so this will be 12x2 equal to 600. Then 5 3s are 15, x1 plus 25, 25, x2, 150 into 5 will be 75, so it will be 750. So now if I subtract one from the other one, so if I subtract, so x1 is cancelled, then this becomes 12 minus 25, x2, this will be 600 minus 750. So 12 minus 25 ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗುತ್ತೆ 13 ಆಯಿತು. 13 x2 minus, this will be minus 150, or x2 becomes 150 by 13. So 150 by 13 if you try to find out. So if you get x2 as 150 by 13, I am getting around 11.54. Okay, so this will be 11.54. I'll take approximately. So assuming say the value of x2 to be also integer, I'll take this as around 12 ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ತೀನಿ. Okay, so 11.54 ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, so 12. Then substitute this value for x2 in one of these equations. So I'll get x1 direct ಆಗಿ ಬರೀತೀನಿ ನಾನು. So it will be 4 into 12 is 48. So 200 minus 48, 200 minus 48 will be equal to 152. Okay, so this will divide by 5. That gives me around 30.4. So I'll take around 30.4 ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. I'll take it as 30. So x1 x2 value, if I try to say find out here, x1 is almost equal to 30, x2 is nearly 12. From the graph you can read that value. So 12 and 30, so I'll get this is 30 for x1, then for x2 it is 12. If I try to find out maximum z at C, so this will be 300 into 30 plus 400 into 12. So this if you find out, so this is rupees 13,800. Okay, so that is at C. Then at D, very easy to obtain because it lies on the y-axis. So x1 comma x2 will be 0. x2 is now this third division, it will be 30. So if I find out maximum z at D, this is 0 plus 400 into 30. So this will be 12,000. Then at E, x1, x2, if you find out, at E the value is 25. Okay, this is 0 comma 25. So maximum Z at E will be 0 plus 400 into 25. So I get 25 fours are 100 alva. So I'll get this as Z DLY though. This is ZC. ZE will be rupees 10,000. So out of all these values, I'm getting say 6,000, then 12,000, 13,800, 12,000, then 10,000. So maximum happens to be at C. So C will be known as what is known as optimum solution point. So point C will be known as optimum solution point. So at that location, so this is optimum. Therefore x1 equal to 30, x2 equal to 12, and maximum Z value will be rupees 13,800. So this is how you need to arrive at a graphical solution for the given LPP. I hope this video will help you in some way to understand better the concepts of solving the LPP by the graphical method. Thank you.